Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be giving you guys a haul of everything I got from Scotland. I was in Scotland for a week in August. I was in Edinburgh for 3 days and then Inverness, which is the Scottish Highlands, for 4 days. It was lovely. It has that familiarity of England and London while still having elements that I found primarily in the rest of Europe, like Austria and Germany. Specifically, the architect was very, very beautiful. We're going to go to both Edinburgh and Inverness. I would recommend going to Edinburgh longer because Inverness is very much a quiet, small, calm place, and mostly it's good for day trips like to Loch Ness. Okay, I don't know what this shining light is. Let's go over. Another thing to note is that I definitely wouldn't recommend going to Edinburgh in August. It was crowded. There was people in every single crevice on the streets, especially at the heart and center of Edinburgh. I think it's definitely the kind of place to go to in the fall in August when it's quieter and darker. Another thing about Inverness, because it's so small and quiet and away from the urban popular side of Scotland, I don't think it's the safest to go on your own. I smelt weed and seen a lot of drunk people in London, of course, but it was like crazy in Inverness. Every single time we stepped out of the hotel, it just reeked and reeked of weed. The first night we got there, I want to say it was around 10 to 12 at night, and we went to a nearby restaurant, and then literally right outside the restaurant, like not even a bad restaurant, it was a okay restaurant, it was just a group of people with a blanket on the floor and just a spread of recreational drugs, and it's just out in the open. It's not hidden or anything, so also keep that in mind if you're planning to go to Inverness. This is going to be split into a few sections. I have clothing, beauty stuff, books, little keychains and trinkets, and then cards. I have a lot of cards because I was hunting for stuff to send to my friend. We're going to start with clothing, and the first item are these gorgeous red fingerless gloves. I'm glad they're fingerless. I find non-fingerless gloves very inconvenient. It's difficult to find a good shade of red because all the red shades I like are too dark to look red, if that makes sense. This one I feel like is a nice in-between without being too bright, of course. This one, I don't remember what the store is, but I think it was in Princess Street. It was in Edinburgh. Next, and I showed this in my Scotland haul, I got this shirt. It's very much a touristy shirt. It just says Edinburgh, Scotland, and then the grey under here. It's a really pretty dark blue color and it's really comfortable. This is from Tartan Threads. It's this huge store right on the shopping street below Edinburgh Castle. So if you're going down from Edinburgh Castle, it's going to be to your left. That's also where I got this next and final item from, and it's this huge wool sweater. I also showed this in my vlog. Here there's 2 buttons on the whole thing, but it can be worn as a jumper or a jacket. It's a really nice soft brownish beige color. We're moving on to the beauty items, and I have 2 here. The first is from St. Giles Cathedral. I don't know if it's St. Giles or St. Giles. And it is this goat milk soap with an orange, lemon, and lime scent. I haven't opened it yet. I was waiting to film this. It's October. Oh my gosh, no, it's November. It's a cruelty-free organic soap, and it smells very fresh and creamy. It's just a plain bar with a soft peachy color. St. Giles Cathedral was gorgeous, genuinely one of the most beautiful buildings I've been in. It's also free to go in, just with a voluntary donation. Next, I got this solid hand cream bar. This is from Paper Tiger in Edinburgh. This smells so good. The scents listed on here are amber, rose, bakhur, atar, which is kind of like musk, frankincense, sweet orange, green oak moss, black pepper, and patchouli. Okay, I think it kind of melted on the plane. So basically you just take it and rub it on your palm a bit, and then your palm will warm it up. You just rub it all over your hands. It kind of smells like really natural, clean chocolate. I have this little bust that says Scotland. This, which my mom got me from Loch Ness, is meant to be the Loch Ness Monster. And this pen, which is from the same store as the Edinburgh top and wool sweater. Next, we're moving on to the books. I have 3 books, each I am so excited for. The first is this first edition Little Women by Louisa May Alcott, which I found in The Gently Mad, which is in Edinburgh. I could not believe my eyes when I saw this. I don't know how it wasn't sold before I got there. It's a very old edition. I couldn't find the exact date, but it is, I think, at least 100 years old. It's a very gorgeous copy as well. I believe it's just the first novel. And I have read Little Women before, only the first one. I love Little Women. I feel like it's the kind of classic and book that you can just collect a lot of different copies of because it's such a cute pocket book. I describe it as pocket books, which is like the kind of book that's just very lightly intuitive, easy to read and get through and relate to. Next, we have two books from the Armchair Books, which is another secondhand bookstore in Edinburgh. First, I got The Room by Hubert Selby Jr. I don't believe that Hubert Selby Jr. actually went to jail. I might be mistaken, but he's putting himself in the mind of a prisoner. It is quite an experience to be locked up all by yourself in any size room, says the anonymous narrator of Hubert Selby Jr.'s second novel. What follows is a startling series of recollections and fantasies that illuminate the workings of a prisoner's unhinged mind. He yearns for his violent childhood, rages against obscure authorities, and imagines enacting horrible revenge on those who imprisoned him. The prisoner's remand cell becomes the scene of a surreal mental torture. Disorientating, nightmarish, and structurally inventive, The Room, Selby Jr.'s sequel to Last Exit to Brooklyn, is a shocking examination of the suffering humans can inflict to each other. I love a book with a good concept, a good plot, but a very deep philosophical question at the center. That's what I'm intending to do with my novel, and I am so excited to read this. And then finally, I got Iron in the Soul, June 1940. This was the summer of defeat. Day by day, hour by hour, Iron the Soul unfolds what men thought and felt and did as France fell. Men who shrugged, men who ran, men who fought, and tragic men like Matthew, riven with remorse, who must somehow learn to kill. Iron in the Soul magnificently portrays, as few books about war have done, what it means to lose. One of my future plans for a novel is a war book, and it might be set in France. I have yet to decide because I have a few plans for books that I want to set in that region. And so that's what made it catch my eye. And then I read the first page and I loved it. New York, Saturday, 15th June 1940, 9 a.m. An octopus? He pulled out his knife and opened his eyes. It was a dream. No, it wasn't. The octopus was a reality, and it was draining him with its suckers. It was the heat. He was sweating. I really like the way that this started, and I know, or I think that the author is a bit controversial, but I think I'm going to really enjoy this. I need to get bigger classics. I think the only big classics I have yet to read that I have right now on my bookshelf are Jane Eyre, The Three Musketeers, Emma. Oh, I actually do have a few. Anyway, let's move on to the cards. I have a lot here. I'm not going to go through each one, but I'm going to show you guys the cards in bulk and let you know where I got them from. I remember pretty much where I got all of these from. First, I got these animal fantasy cards from St. Giles Cathedral. They open up like this, and then there's some space to write. Next, I got this from a pass sign protest that was in Inverness. There's a lot, guys. First, there are these very touristy ones. And then I went to the Witchery, which is the most magical store. And I got a collection of postcards. And then this, which came on its own. I got these postcards which have author quotes. There's one by Nathaniel Hawthorne. What other dungeon is so dark as one's own heart? One by Charles Baudelaire, which I was very excited when I saw. Leaving for leaving's sake, hearts light as balloons, let's go. And then there's this one by John Locke, and it's very small writing, which gets smaller and smaller, and it says, the only fence against the world is a thorough knowledge of it. Then I got these from Paper Tiger again. I thought they were very quirky and cute. And then on our last day in Edinburgh, we went to another secondhand bookstore, and I got this postcard, two replicas of a natural registration card from 1915, and you can fill in the inside, and then another old replica of some dessert recipes. And then finally, the cards that I was most excited for, which were again from the Armchair Books, or no, the Gently Mad. These are from the Gently Mad, the same place I got the secondhand Little Women book from. I got these three vintage postcards. She had like a shelf of postcards. If I wasn't rushed away by my parents, I would have spent even longer there. This one doesn't have anything at the back, but then these two do have writings. These are the actual letters, it's not replicas. This one is just so pretty. I'm gonna send either this or this one over to my friend and then keep the other two. And then from this huge bookstore called the Leaky Cauldron in Inverness, I got this, which is a print from, I believe, the 1800s. There's a sticker on here somewhere. Oh, here it is. That's a guarantee that this print is over 100 years old. I spent a very long time looking for the perfect one to get because they are obviously on the expensive side. This is just titled The Peewit, and it's a dead bird, and I thought this was perfect because in the book I'm writing TVS, and in my future novels I want to have kind of a motif of birds, and I again briefly mentioned this in my last video, and I'm not gonna give any spoilers or give too much into it, but a dead bird is definitely very symbolic in my book. I saw this and thought it was perfect. These are the kind of things that I am going to store away until the last house that I'm ever planning to live in, because I don't want to waste it just using it for decor now. That is it for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. I'm really happy with everything I got. I think it was a very nice mixture of stuff. Next week I'm going to be giving you a book haul that's going to include the 3 books here, but then all the other books that I got in London. Thank you again for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I will see you guys next week.